You know, I've stood on a lot of docks over the years, and I've watched a lot of brand new trawlers come off the truck looking absolutely perfect. Gleaming gel coat, fresh teak, that new boat smell that gets every retiree's heart racing just a little. Here's the thing nobody tells you at the boat show, though. Most of those boats won't be around in 30 years. Some won't even make it 15. They'll get sold, or they'll sit in a yard somewhere with a as-is sign on them. Or worse, they'll cost some poor soul $40,000 in deferred maintenance they never saw coming. But a handful of boats? They just keep going. Owners keep them for 20, 30, 40 years. They pass them down to their kids. Their grandkids learn to dock them. And when these boats finally do sell, the new owner inherits something that was already proven solid before they were even born. Experienced owners already know which boats these are. The marina old-timers, the surveyors who've crawled through 1,000 bilges, the guys who've owned 6 boats and finally found the one they kept. Today I'm giving you that list. 7 trawlers, real ones, still on the water right now, that have earned a reputation for lasting forever. And I'll tell you right now, the number 1 boat on this list is a different animal entirely. Many owners who finally buy it stop shopping completely. They simply keep it for the rest of their lives. Let's get into it. Number 7. Marine Trader 40. Now I want to start with a boat that doesn't get nearly the respect it deserves. The Marine Trader 40 was built in Taiwan back in the 70s and 80s. And if you've never stepped inside one, you're missing something. These boats were built heavy. Real teak everywhere. Thick fiberglass laid up by hand, not sprayed on by a machine trying to hit a production quota. I talked to a guy a few years back who's owned the same Marine Trader for almost 30 years. He told me something I'll never forget. He said, "This boat was never the fastest, never the prettiest in the marina, but it never once let me down when it mattered." That's the reputation these boats carry. The Ford Lehman diesel that powers most of them is practically bulletproof, simple, naturally aspirated, the kind of engine a retiree with basic mechanical sense can actually understand and maintain himself. Parts are everywhere. Every diesel mechanic from Maine to Florida has worked on one. You'll find good examples running between $45,000 and $75,000 depending on condition. For a 40-foot Liveaboard trawler with 2 cabins and 2 heads, that's hard to beat. Now I'll be honest with you. These boats are not fast. 7, 8 knots is about it. And because so many of them are getting up there in years, condition varies wildly from boat to boat. You really do need a proper survey, because the bones might be perfect on one example, and the systems might be a disaster on the next. Quick favor before we keep going. If you're enjoying this, hit that like button, subscribe to Boat Hunter, and turn on notifications. We've got 6 more boats to get through, and trust me, you don't want to miss the one at the top. The next boat solved one weakness that a lot of Marine Trader owners quietly complained about for years. Number 6. Mainship 390. The complaint I heard most often from Marine Trader owners was the twin-engine maintenance burden. 2 engines, 2 of everything. Double the headaches when something needs attention. The Mainship 390 fixed that with a single, well-sized Caterpillar diesel. Now here's something interesting about Mainship as a company. They weren't trying to build a status symbol. They were building boats for regular people who wanted to actually use them, not show them off. And that philosophy shows up in every inch of the 390. 1 engine means 1 maintenance schedule, 1 fuel bill, 1 set of filters and belts to keep track of. For a retired couple who doesn't want to become full-time boat mechanics, that simplicity is worth more than most people realize until they've lived with it. Fuel economy is genuinely impressive too. 2 to 3 gallons an hour at cruising speed. I know a couple who did the entire Great Loop on one of these and barely thought about fuel costs the whole trip. These boats run anywhere from $65,000 up to $130,000, depending on year and condition. The owner community is strong, very active online, and they tend to help each other out generously when someone has a question. The honest drawback here is that single engine. If something goes wrong with it offshore, you're calling for a tow, not switching to your backup. That's just the trade-off you make for the simplicity. Boat number 5 takes us in a completely different direction, and it might be the most underappreciated name on this entire list. Number 5, Willard 36. Most folks have never heard of the Willard 36, and that's exactly why the people who own one tend to love talking about it. These boats were built like little tanks, solid fiberglass hulls, full displacement, designed by people who genuinely understood what it takes for a small boat to handle real ocean conditions. There's actually a famous story about a Willard that survived a hurricane while tied up at a dock that destroyed boats 3 times its size sitting right next to it. I've heard owners describe the Willard 36 as the boat that refuses to die. That's not an exaggeration. Surveyors who've inspected these boats consistently come away impressed with how solid the construction is, even on examples that are 50 years old now. Inside, it's cozy. This isn't a boat for someone who needs a massive master suite. One cabin, simple layout, built for a couple who want something manageable rather than a floating mansion. You'll find these in the $40,000 to $70,000 range. And honestly, given how few of them were built and how loyal the ownership community is, finding one for sale can take patience. The real weakness is size. 36 feet doesn't give you a ton of room for long-term living, especially if you've got guests visiting often. And being a smaller, lesser-known brand, resale can take longer than some of the more famous names on this list. But if you ask owners why they bought it, almost every single one says the same thing. They wanted something they never had to worry about in bad weather. And that's exactly what they got. Now, the next boat takes a completely different approach to the same goal, going anywhere, in any conditions, without a second thought. Number 4, Kadey-Krogen 42. If the Willard 36 is the toughest small boat on this list, the Kadey-Krogen 42 is the boat serious long-range cruisers actually buy when they're planning to cross oceans, not just coastlines. These boats have genuinely circled the globe, not as a marketing claim, but as documented fact. Owners have taken Kadey-Krogens across the Atlantic, across the Pacific, places most trawlers would never attempt. The full displacement hull is the secret here. It's not trying to be fast, it's trying to be efficient and comfortable in conditions that would make other boats miserable. And it succeeds at that better than almost anything else being built today or built decades ago. Owners talk about the Kadey-Krogen with something close to reverence. There's an active, almost family-like community of Krogen owners who rendezvous together, share knowledge, and genuinely look out for each other. I've heard the phrase Krogen family used unironically more times than I can count. Used examples typically run from $100,000 up to $250,000, depending on age and configuration. That's a meaningful step up from everything else we've covered so far. The trade-off is speed and price. These boats are slow even by trawler standards, optimized entirely for efficiency over distance rather than getting somewhere quickly. And the purchase price puts it out of reach for some retirees who'd otherwise love one. But for the buyer who wants a boat capable of taking them literally anywhere on Earth with total confidence, this is about as close to a sure thing as exists in the trawler world. We're halfway through the list. If you've got a favorite so far, drop it in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Boat Hunter and turn on notifications. The next 3 boats are where things get really interesting. Now, before I tell you number 3, let me ask you something. If you walked the docks at a marina in the Pacific Northwest during a nasty squall, which boat would still have its owners comfortably inside, completely unbothered by the weather? Chances are it would be this one. Number 3, Nordic Tug 42. Here's a question I like asking owners when I meet them at a marina. If you had to do it all over again, would you buy the same boat? Nordic Tug 42 owners say yes more consistently than almost anyone else I talk to. The thing that sets this boat apart is the enclosed pilot house. When the weather turns, and it always eventually turns, you're not standing exposed on a flybridge getting soaked and cold. You're inside, warm, dry, completely in control. I talked to a retired couple who cruise the Pacific Northwest every summer, and they told me the pilot house is the single feature they'd never give up. Other boats around them were canceling trips because of weather. They just kept going. These boats were built up in Washington State by people who genuinely understood what Pacific Northwest weather throws at a boat. The hull handles following seas with a confidence that flat-bottomed boats simply can't match, and the systems are designed for an owner to maintain themselves, not requiring a professional every time something needs attention. Used Nordic Tug 42s run from about $120,000 up to $200,000. Strong demand, strong resale, and an owner community that's every bit as devoted as the Krogen folks. The honest downside is that enclosed pilot house cuts you off from the open-air experience on the gorgeous calm days when you'd actually enjoy being outside at the helm. And the Pacific Northwest design philosophy means it's built more for all-weather capability than tropical liveaboard comfort. Many owners who moved up from smaller boats on this list eventually ended up right here with a Nordic Tug. But the next boat carries a name that practically defines what a trawler is supposed to look like. Number 2. Grand Banks 42 Classic. If you ask 10 experienced trawler owners to name the most respected trawler ever built, 8 or 9 of them are going to say Grand Banks. The 42 Classic earned that reputation one boat at a time, over 5 decades, with owners putting hundreds of thousands of cumulative miles on these hulls and coming back wanting another one just like it. What makes them last is the construction. Fiberglass laid up the old way, thick and honest. Teak decks and handrails fitted by craftsmen who clearly took pride in what they were building. A semi-displacement hull that handles like it knows exactly what it's doing. I met an owner in Florida once who had over 18,000 hours on his Grand Banks. 18,000. I asked him what he'd replace it with when the time finally came. He just smiled and said, "Another Grand Banks." That was the shortest answer anyone gave me all year. You'll find used examples anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000. And that price has stayed remarkably stable because demand never really goes away. Now I won't pretend it's perfect. Teak maintenance is real work and it's ongoing. If you neglect it, it shows fast and it costs real money to bring back. And these are not fast boats. You make peace with 7 or 8 knots, or this isn't the boat for you. But owners don't seem to mind. They say the same thing almost every time. They stop thinking about the boat and start thinking about where they're going next. And that brings us to the boat that experienced owners talk about a little differently than everything else on this list. In fact, when I asked one retired captain which boat he'd buy if money wasn't the deciding factor, he laughed and said, "You only ask that question if you've never owned one." Then he told me something I'll never forget. People don't graduate from this boat. They retire with it. He was talking about the Fleming 55. Number 1. Fleming 55. There's a saying among serious trawler people, and I've heard it more times than I can count. People don't graduate from a Fleming. They retire with one. Think about what that actually means. Most boat owners, even happy ones, are always sort of looking around, wondering what's next. Bigger, newer, something with one more feature. Fleming owners largely stop doing that. They buy the boat, and the search just ends. Tony Fleming built these boats with an obsession for detail that borders on the absurd. Every system has a backup. Every piece of joinery is fitted with a precision that costs real money to achieve. The engineering throughout the boat reflects decades of feedback from actual owners who told Fleming exactly what mattered and what didn't. And he listened. The hull is genuinely capable offshore, but the boat is just as comfortable tied up at a dock for months at a time. That combination, true offshore capability paired with serious liveaboard comfort, is rare. Most boats are good at one or the other. Here's something that tells you everything about how these boats hold their value. A well-maintained Fleming 55 from the 90s or early 2000s can still command $300,000 or more, sometimes considerably more. That's almost unheard of for a boat that old. The market simply refuses to let these depreciate the way everything else does. I talked to an owner once who told me he'd bought and sold 5 different boats before he found his Fleming. He said, every single one of them, I was already thinking about the next boat before I even finished paying for the one I had. With the Fleming, that thought just never came. Now I have to be honest about the drawback, because every boat on this list has one. The price. These boats are simply not accessible to every retiree's budget, even used. And 55 feet requires real handling confidence, more than the smaller boats on this list. But for the buyer who can make it work, owners consistently describe the Fleming as the last boat purchase they ever needed to make. So there's the list. 7 boats that experienced owners trust to last, genuinely, for decades. You know what I find interesting? Nobody lying in a hospital bed at 85 says, I wish I'd upgraded to a bigger television. But I have met plenty of people who told me they wished they'd bought the boat sooner because somewhere along the way, they realized they weren't buying fiberglass. They were buying sunsets. They were buying friendships. They were buying stories their grandchildren would still be talking about 20 years later. And maybe that's what a forever boat really is. Not the most expensive boat, not the fastest, just the one that lets you stop shopping and start living. So I want to know, if you had to pick just one of these 7 boats and own it for the rest of your life, which one would it be? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely read every one of them. If this video helped you out, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to Boat Hunter if you haven't already. We do this every week. Real boats, real costs, the honest stuff nobody else wants to tell you. Life is too short to buy the wrong boat. We'll see you in the next one.